Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Nitro Racing League here on the channel of NASCAR Heat 5. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we start the first race of the second round of the Nitro Racing playoffs here. 8 drivers remain in the playoffs as we come through into New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So we came through starting in this race in a bit of a disappointing qualifying effort, P9 here for New Hampshire. I didn't really take qualifying very seriously at all. I was really just messing around the whole time, and it very well showed here in the qualifying position. But we get underway either way here. As you can see, stage 1 was a solid 36 laps. It's quite a long race. I think it was like 150 or something like that total. I can't remember, but we would actually get sent into turn 3 by the 88 of Cameron here as we came through the center of 3 and out of turns 4, and then we came through to the exit of turns 4 and he decided to slam me into the wall, and that was just about what happened in qualifying, with everyone just messing around with each other now as we would fall back to P11 of 12 right off the start, but we immediately would start to work our way back forwards after that little incident on the first lap. So we get up the inside of the 88 of Cameron there, make the pass on him, move back up into P10, then we would now clear him into turns 3 and try to run down our affiliate teammate of Jay, who comes into this round, I believe, 1 point below the cut line. He had a bit of a moment there with the 38 now as they all got bunched together. I was 3 wide in the middle as we came through out of turns 2, and we passed the 38, actually putting RJ in the wall a little bit there, but we would pass Jay as well, and then we would get to the inside now of the 8 of Venom. I still don't actually know what his first name is, but once I do, I'll eventually start saying it. But we come through out of turns 4, trying to complete a pass on him now as we came through to 29 laps to go in this first stage, as the 19 was out in front at this point. The 48 and the 24 were up there in second and third of Tyler and Connor, and then the 9 of Angel Wisdom there in P4 in his final season here in the Nitro Racing League. So we would clear the 8 of Venom and then now run down this next group of cars in P6. It was Matt, our teammate here, as we went down into turns 1 now on lap 13. Stage 1 overall was pretty quick now, as you can tell already. 13 laps in after just about 2 minutes in the video here as we came through. Trying to put the pressure to the back of the 20, but Matt has been very tough to pass all playoff long, as he's definitely changed his mentality, to say the least, as we come into the playoffs, and it has definitely showed here in the Nitro Racing Series. So we would try to work our way around it, but I was struggling, to say the least. We come through to lap 21. I'm still behind him here, and I can't really do anything now as we came through, though, out of turns 4, trying to complete the pass. And sure enough, we finally would get past him there on the exit of turns 4 now, as we would now try to run down the 4 of Durham there for Stuart Haas Racing as we came through out of turns 2, closing in on the back of him now, as Andrew has actually moved up into second place at this point here in New Hampshire. He passed both of his teammates of Tyler in the 48 as well as Connor in the 24. So I'm working on moving our way into stage points here by passing that 4 car of Durham. As you guys know, as I say all the time, only 5th place and above in stage 1 and 2 get points in Nitro here for the stages. As we go down though into turns 3 and lap 25, we would complete the pass on the 4. No green flag pit stops were necessary in stage 1, so we come through out of turns 4, and actually the 4 car tries to battle back to the inside, but it appeared that his car was getting really loose at this point now with just 11 to go in stage 1. So now we would just spend the rest of the stage trying to run down the 48 of Tyler, who had fallen off a little bit compared to his teammates. So we come through to 7 laps to go in stage 1, and we were starting to close the gap a little bit to the back of the 48, and as the laps went on, we just continued to reel him in here within the final 5 laps of the stage. We come through to lap 32, and sure enough, you can see the gap getting closer and closer between myself and the 48 of Tyler. The 19 still out front as we exit turns 4, heading down this front straightaway. So now we came through to 3 laps to go. We had gotten right to the left rear quarter panel of the 48, but he drives us all the way down the track. I'm not sure what was going on there, if he maybe just got loose and it just kind of carried him down the track. But either way, we keep it going in the right direction here as we look to the outside into turn 3. The second lane was honestly my preferred lane here, but I just couldn't make it work right here now as we came through 3 and out of turns 4. But we get a very good run on the exit of the corner, right to the back of the 48, right to his back bumper, and I was confident that the only way I was going to be able to pass him here in stage 1 to get P4 was I was going to have to move him. So we cut through to the final lap here in stage 1, and I told Tyler, I said, I'm going to try moving you in turns 3 and 4. I probably shouldn't have told him that because it gave away what I was going to do. So sure enough, into turns 3, we tried to get to his back bumper and use the bumper right there, but absolutely no luck at all. And we come through out of turns 4, and we will have to settle for the 5th position as we come through to cross the line as a 19 of Jonathan won stage 1. Andrew Wisdom there, very solid P2 for him. Connor in P3 now as we would get the final stage points. So that really helps us out here in the playoff grid as we come into this race to start the second round of the playoffs. I believe it was 18 points above the cut line, and in stage 1 we beat everybody that we need to beat. So this is only going to help us, of course, now as we get ready to go green here for the second stage in New Hampshire. I didn't make really too many adjustments on the car. I did tighten it up a little bit. I put the wedge up by like 2 clicks, and it actually had quite more of an effect than I anticipated it having now, as you would get underway for the start of the second stage with the 19, the 9 on the front row, then on row number 2, the 24 and the 48, then myself here on row number 3 here as we dive down into turns 1. This was a very awkward restart right there. They kind of hit the brakes, and that was very unexpected for me, just kind of catching them like that mid-corner, so it messed me up. I ran into the side of the 24. We lost a bunch of momentum, and now we got passed by the 20 of Matt. We got the 4 of Durham on my outside, and I immediately could tell the car was really tight with these adjustments that I made. As you can see me pushing way up on the exit of turn 4. Thank goodness there was not a car there, because that was like the best I could get it to turn. Now as it came through though, trying to put the pressure on the back of that 20 as we get up the outside of him into turns 1, but I kind of make a mistake on the entry there, and then right here the car just does not turn in my favor. So now that allows the 8 of Venom to get up my inside, and now he tries to complete a pass on myself here on the second lap of this second stage. Now is the 19, the 9 out in front. The 8 car actually runs into the back of the 20, moves him up the track a little bit, so then I run into the back of the 20. The 8 backs out there, so now we just kind of settle in here to P6 for a few moments, but the 8 of Venom, he would actually be able to get back to me on lap 4 now. As you went down into turns 1, he gets up my inside, and I just still couldn't turn the car. For about the first 8 to 9 laps or so, this car was so tight here in stage 2, so we end up losing P7, or P6, and going to P7, but the very next lap now on lap 5 out of turns 2, we would be able to battle back up the inside of Venom, and now it started to feel like the car was coming in a little bit there. A bit of a door slam down the straightaway. He's just messing around with us there as we go down into turns 3. The 4 of Durham just behind as well, but we take over P6, and now we try to run down once again the 48, the 20 who were battling up there in front of us. And like I said, the cars started to come in a little bit now as we came through on lap 9. Matt had lost that spot to the 48 of Tyler. He was now in P5, and for a driver like Matt, as well as our other affiliate teammate at Jay, stage points are so important for those two drivers right now when they come into this roundabout, right on the bubble basically of elimination and being 1 point below the cut line even. So we would though get up the inside of the 20, a little bit of contact there as he got loose on the exit of turns 4 with 42 laps to go still, by the way, in stage 2. A lot more laps in the second stage, 52 to be exact, and then another mistake there from the 20, so we would be able to attack on it and actually move up into P5 here as I lunge very deep into turns 1, and we either way complete the pass on Karma, and now we hold on to P5. The 19 and the 9 still out in front. They were right now the class of the field here in New Hampshire. They were relatively even at this point in the race in terms of speed, but then Matt, he would actually be able to battle back up my inside a little bit later now in lap 16, and then some contact there as we came through at the turns 2, and that would of course result me being in the wall, and then we actually drop back down to P6, and then I get loose at a turns 2 now on lap 18, so I lose a ton of ground, but you know what, I wasn't concerned. I knew we had the pace to be with the 20, and sure enough, we would run the 20 back down no problem at all as we came through on lap 25 into turns 3. Now green flag pit stops were getting kind of close here for the field at this point now, as he will have to make a green flag pit stop in this second stage unless of course we get a caution, but so far this race was caution free, not counting the stage break here as we came through to 27 laps still to go in the second stage. Now as we lunge up that right hand side there of the 20, trying to complete the pass finally on the preferred lane, he gets sideways on the exit of turns 2 on that apron, and that allows me to get clear now of Matt on the exit of turn 2 going down this backstretch into turns 3. So Matt, I guess at this point decided, you know what, it is time to get ready to make a green flag pit stop, and sure enough on the exit of turns 4 he comes into the pit lane, and here is where everything changes for a driver like Matt. He came into his pit box and had a very weird glitch in the game where when he entered his pit box, his game froze for a second and lagged him out of the game, and then Jay came around and pitted a few laps later, and the same exact thing happened to Jay. His game froze for a second, and then he lagged out of the game when he went into his pit box. So all of a sudden, two drivers on the bubble in terms of being possibly eliminated here in the playoffs have lagged completely out of the race because of a glitch in the game, and that was both Jay and Matt in the 20 and the 95. So then I come in to make my pit stop, and the same thing happens to me, where you see it right there. It froze for just a moment, and I thought, you know what, that's probably the end of my race too, and I just lagged out. But fortunately, I got really lucky, and my game actually I still stay connected to the game. But both Jay and Matt unfortunately legged out, so that really changes everything for them in terms of how they're going to have to attack these next few races in this second round if they want to make it into the round of 6 here in the playoffs. So very unfortunate for them, and we cut straight through to the end of the second stage because absolutely nothing happened. We were still P5, but we had now once again run down the 48 of Tyler here as we went down into turns 3 on this final lap in the stage. Once again, I tried to move him out of the way. Now as we came through out of turns 4 of the inside, we're sideways there, nearly going into the pit lane, but fortunately we do not, but we cross the line again for P5 here in the second stage. So far, I think it's pretty clear to say that we've had about a 5th place car in the Nitro Racing League today in New Hampshire, but now we'll get ready to go green for the 3rd and final stage. And of course, Jay and Matt both lagging out because of the game glitch, opened the door wide open for a driver like Durham. Unfortunately for him, he did not get stage points, but here in the final stage, he's going to be able to pick up some crucial points against both Jay and Karma to help himself in the playoffs. And of course, at the end of this episode, I will show the playoff grid and what it looks like. There's a terrible restart for the 48, and the reason for that was on his screen, on Tyler's screen, everybody was going before he even was allowed to take control of his own car. So a very awkward moment. That's happened to myself in the past as well. It's just something that kind of happens every once in a while, but we came through running now P4 here on lap 96 of 150. Here's going to turn 3, and you see it's Jonathan who won stage 2 as well as stage 1, up in P1 still. Andrew 2nd, Connor 3rd, myself in the 4th position here as we go down this front straightaway. So a little bit over 50 laps to go, and it was really just a 4-car runaway pretty much. It was Jonathan and Andrew, though they were a little bit faster at this point than myself and Connor, so it really felt like they were battling for 1st, and then myself and Connor were battling for 3rd. Now a bit of a redemption battle as myself and Connor had the same even pace recently at Bristol, and we just weren't really close on the track together, but then of course Connor actually crashed himself and we were able to go through and win that race. But we come through out of turns 2 now on lap 114. At this point we come through to 37 laps to go, and the 19 and the 9 we're getting added a little bit now. I would have loved to show the party chat at some points this season, and this would have been a really good race to show what was being said in the party chat, but unfortunately we do not have that now as we came through out of turns 2 now on lap 116. The 19 and the 9 come together. The 19 puts the 9 in the wall, and then all of a sudden myself and Connor are right here in the mix. I actually don't even bother trying to pass Andrew because I know he's faster, so I decided, you know what, you can just go have it, and then the 24 lets him go as well. He says go on by and go and have at the 19 once again here as we came through, approaching now 30 laps to go in this race. So myself, Connor, run P3 and P4, and once again, the front 2 would actually pull away just a little bit, but the 9 and the 19, they had been making contact here and there throughout this final stage now, and myself and Connor had a great view of it. We just kind of sat in the back here and watched it all go down because we had enough pace to hang there, just not enough pace to actually do anything, it felt like there. As you see me struggling with the handling of the car, losing some ground because of that. But it was still the 9 and the 19 going for that lead. But Andrew actually started to fall off here towards the end of the fuel cycle. So we were closing in once again on green flag pit stop now with a little bit over 20 laps to go in this race, as we were right on the back of the 24. But sure enough, on lap 127, Andrew decides he's going to be the first one to pit. And I wasn't really sure about this one here because I knew he was going to be at a disadvantage no matter what now compared to the 19. Now that was very unfortunate for Andrew here as he came through getting ready to make our own green flag pit stop, of course, within the next lap or so, as I didn't want to be too far behind Andrew. So now on at lap 129, just 2 laps later, myself and the 19 come into the pit lane. 4 tires, easy call to make for us. Andrew comes out in front of the 19, but like I said, Andrew at a disadvantage compared to the 19, so it should be a no-brainer for the 19 to be able to pass him now at this point. But the 24 of Connor, he tried a 2-tire pit stop, so he would actually cycle out the leader. So we were now on lap 134, less than 20 laps to go, running in P4, but Connor on 2 fresh tires compared to everybody else's 4. It was just down to timing. Will he be able to hang on to that race lead? But it was getting very evident he was not going to be able to because all of us were closing in very quickly now as we were also working our way through lap traffic. There you see RJ in the 38 there on my outside as I go up the inside of him, but the 19, the 9, they were still battling it out now as there was just a lot of contact made at times between them. Andrew put the 19 in the wall a few times, and then he actually was very gracious about it and let the 19 actually go back by around him. So it was really interesting seeing it all go down here as it go down into turns 1. Now the 19 actually pulled a slider on the 9 of Andrew into turns 1 as they both approach the back of the 24 of Connor. So they're putting the pressure on him to get the lead here now as they're racing for the race victory. We're just a little bit too far back, but the 19 out of turns 4 puts the 24 up towards that outside wall, so then they go at it now down the front straight away. Connor, I don't think, appreciated what happened right there, and he let the 19 know about it, but the 19 of Jonathan still either way moves through into P1, Andrew into second, and then I actually have a bit of a moment there, got sideways, overcorrected, hit the outside wall, lose a bunch of time, but we would eventually run down the 24. He was trying to be a little bit defensive here as we went down into turns 1, but we would complete the pass anyways now on the 4 fresh tires compared to his 2 fresh tires, and we move back up into P3 here in New Hampshire. Now less than 10 laps to go, but obviously this is the best our car has been all race compared to these drivers up in front of us now. And as we go into turn 3, I knew at this point that we had nothing really for the leaders there. We weren't going to be able to win this race, and especially now as we came through to 4 laps ago, we were way ahead of the 24 at this point, as those 2 tires, unfortunately for him, would end up failing. But Andrew started to struggle a little bit here within the final couple laps on handling. So with 2 laps to go, we had actually run down Andrew Wisdom, to my surprise. A very surprising event for myself to get actually to the back from here with just, like I said, 2 laps to go. But either way, no cautions were allowed to come out at this point. As you guys know, when you hit 5 laps to go pretty much in the Nitro Racing League, you cannot have any more cautions. So it was just green to the end in the 19, cruising to victory. Andrew, I think if he maybe would have waited maybe an extra lap or 2 to pit, he could have had something for the 19 now as we come through out of turns 4, heading down the front straightaway. White flag in the air, and what was a bit of a boring race here to say the least in New Hampshire. No incidents at all, just stayed green the whole way other than the stage breaks. But of course we had the event of both Jay and Matt lagging out 2 playoff drivers, a huge moment for them, all because of a glitch with the game. So very unfortunate for them now as we go down into turns 3 on this final lap here. The 8 car actually pulled off the track and just stopped. He said, I'm done at this point, I'm just going to let this race finish. So we come through though out of turns 4. The 19 of Jonathan picks up the victory. Andrew Wisdom in second, myself here in P3, Connor P4, and the 48 of Tyler rounds out the top 5, and there you see the rest of the top 10, and then the bottom few positions belong to both Jay as well as Matt after lagging out. So Durham got P6, which is very crucial to pick up those extra points, as you're going to see the playoff grid after the race right now on your screen. So, of course, the 19 locked into the next round, but Andrew Wisdom, myself, both well above the cut line. Andrew especially 44 points above the cut line. I'm 28 points. Connor 19, Tyler 16 in the 48, but Durham is now 1 point above the cut line over both Jay and Matt. So it's going to get really interesting in the coming races, but unfortunately both of them lagging out puts it in a situation where it's going to be really a fight between those two, I think, to be that last car into the next round. So it's going to get really interesting now. But of course, before we end this episode, just want to say thank you to the Going Racing members of MJ, Aiden, James, Dylan, Joseph 9001, RJ, Timothy, Bubba Jr., Illinois Diecast, NASCAR on Docks, Devin Roth, Eric Chouette, Matthias Hansen, as well as Movement. As I always say, you guys help me out a lot, and I really do appreciate you sticking around and helping me out. So I will see you guys though in the next one. Thank you for everybody for taking the time out of the day to watch this episode, and have yourselves a great day, everybody.